Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, so we were on the top of a mountain in Turkey. It was one of our favourite places to go as a couple. We used to go every year. It's just the most beautiful, scenic, peaceful place. And I remember Adam and I were sat there with my laptop one morning after breakfast, and you basically said to me, you turned around and said to me, look, why don't you do something in music, like on the business side of things, didn't you? And you said to me, you've got such a good black book of contacts. And I was like, do I? And you made me sit there with a spreadsheet and basically create like everyone I knew in the press world. And once I started that, the list was like huge. And then from that list, you were like, why don't you just start doing press? Because you're really good at it naturally. Because I basically ended up doing his press campaign for him because a PR company dropped the ball, paid a lot of money, and they dropped the ball on the press for his band. So I jumped in and basically repitched his press release and literally pitched all my contacts. And I had some really great success. And it was from you saying to me, you can do this on your own. I think you need to go alone and do it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and there you
what?
Go. Normanton Street, was it? Or no, you did something for me and then Normanton Street reached out. Yeah.
We'll get to that bit.
We'll get to that
They're
bit.
going to ask us our first client.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was literally, it's from that point where I was like, had this light bulb moment. I was going back to a corporate job after the holiday, which I was really sad about because I hated that job. And yeah, we had this desire to start something ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah. There's definitely a need for it. I think a lot of artists are feeling frustrated about not getting honesty from labels, not being transparent and helping them and promising them the world and not actually doing anything. So yeah, it was just born out of that, really.
Yeah.
Great question. That is the amount of work that you have to do. I mean, I know it sounds obvious, but like it takes an insane amount of work. Like when you see, even for artists, when you see them at their stage 25, there's so many steps that you can underestimate that you need to cross. And it's the same with growing a PR company. There's so many steps to actually becoming trustworthy for artists because there's so little trust out there. So to be a support for them, a resource for them, a tool for them, and an extension of them, it takes a lot of work, and they're putting their baby in your command, you know, your
responsibility,
in your
safe hands.
In safe hands. Yeah.
But also, I'd say when you go it alone, you have to wear so many hats basically. So you are not only the HR, you're the accountant, you're the bookkeeper. Like before we had our fantastic bookkeeper and our fantastic accountant, I used to do all of that. I used to pay people's wages I was physically doing it, running down to the bank. We used to be the HR department. We used to be the recruitment department.
Yeah, recruiter. You've got to become a salesperson.
Yeah, you were the salesperson.
Yeah.
I was the press person. So it was like we literally did everything between us, and it was crazy. Like there was a point where we would, and I know the whole term hustle is kind of like a bit kind of thumbs down now, but we were hustling hard. We never had a holiday. We went on holiday, but we didn't go on holiday. We basically took our laptops around the world with us, and pretty much we were in these beautiful places. Like we went to Ibiza, but we would literally be working 9 till 9. It was crazy.
I think the other thing you underestimate is when you build a team and you're now responsible for paying that team and making sure that you're looking after them.
Scary. That is scary.
And you know they might have rent to pay, they might have bills, this and that.
Yeah.
And you're all pulling together on the same mission. That in itself there's so many hats you have to wear and things you have to think about.
And you don't really ever switch off. Like certainly not in the music industry. Maybe there are other industries where you can literally just sort of hang up your hat at the end of the day or whatever. But in our industry, it's 24/7 pretty much.
It never leaves you.
And if an artist, like, so back when it was just me and Adam, he was in sales and I was doing the campaigns, like I was managing like 20 campaigns on my own. Like if a client had an issue, it was all on me. And if we were out at 8 p.m. on a Friday night, you know, having a lovely evening, and I just happened to open my inbox and the client was really upset, that would just ruin my night, my weekend, and I had to try and fix it. So you can never really relax. Yeah.
But then you adapted to it, and it became part of your life, and
Yeah.
so you accept that. And I think that's the thing they underestimate. So it just becomes a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first client was a band called Normanton Street. So how it came about is Adam's friend, who was also a drummer, Rob, was in Normanton Street drumming. So Rob used to be in the Maccabees, big famous British band, and he heard what we were up to in our flat, and he said, oh, you know what, we've actually got a single coming up soon. Do you fancy doing the single, like working the press for it? We could really do some press, it's a killer single. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I charged them £100. £100 for like 8 weeks work. And I killed it. I was like, I'm going to be the best on this track, on this single, and I did. I literally smashed it out of the park. I think I got them 30 press pieces, and everything from like Clash to I got them a Fred Perry piece. They got free clothes. It was just insane. I got so many pieces, and then obviously I was quite vocal about my successes on social media, and then from that another band were like, oh my God, can you do my single please? And then it was like, can you do my single please? And I was like, ah! Suddenly I had like 15 like requests all at the same time, and that's how it grew.
Yeah. After that we had to start hiring a press person, and then after that A&R got involved.
But yeah, the first, anyone thinking of starting out in any industry, and especially in music PR, you might have to kind of take a little bit of a like drop in your price, maybe just to build that bit of portfolio and credibility and reputation. That's what I had to do. I mean, maybe you don't have to now, but I felt like I did.
Oh, definitely. I think it's still relevant today. It takes a lot to build trust and brand and that kind of thing, because it's an emotional thing being an artist. You're giving away your precious work.
And most PR companies are rubbish. So most artists that work with you will just be doubting you from day one, because I think you'll be like all the others, and we are so different.
And it's hard to convince them of that. That's the thing. So you've got to prove it. You've got to get the results. You've got to make them trust you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, one thing that we've come to realise a long time ago, and it's never ever changed, is human to human connection. It's never, throughout the history of humanity, we've always craved connection with each other, and that won't change regardless of the platforms, regardless of whether it's Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Discord. Doesn't really make a difference. The need to connect with other humans is what's at the center of everything. And so when we think about it like that, what we're really doing is helping artists build their community and their group of super fans, people that are going to interact with them and have a conversation, a two-way interaction, whether it's at a show or whether a gig
discovery on a playlist.
Yeah, discovery on a playlist.
Social media outreach and kind of engagement.
And that's what moves the needle at the end of the day. That's what makes the difference. And you just adapt. You adapt, whether it's this platform, that platform, doesn't really matter. Whether you're using AI or not, doesn't matter. How can you create that connection in the best and meaningful way?
And I do think consistency moves the needle as well. So I think just keep releasing, make sure that you have a schedule and a plan, and if you can afford it, work with a PR company, because it will help you amplify your career, basically.
And knowing who your fans are. I think one of the things artists for so long have been obsessed with is numbers. I just need reach, reach as many people as possible. Well, that's great, but like, how are you going to actually know who your fans are at the end of the day? Who's engaging with you, who's sharing your stuff, who's liking you? Knowing who those people are and treating them like friends, not just fans, is really how I think you move things forward. Even the biggest artists do that. So
yeah, it's better to have 100 fans, true fans that speak to you and engage with you on your Insta lives or TikTok, whatever, than have like 1 million streams with no one really caring about who you are, basically.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah.
I think on knowing themselves, who they are, knowing their brand, understanding what they represent and what they stand for, and keeping that simple and consistent.
Being comfortable on social media. I feel like the ones that are comfortable, I feel tend to go a little bit further.
And view it as a business. And I know it doesn't sound like a pleasing thing to hear for a lot of artists. It is a business, and if you are treat it like an entrepreneur would treat it, I see artists succeed in that way.
Definitely.
And the ones that know how to drop products online or drop merch or like come up with exclusive VIP experiences for their fans, those are the ones that can really
that's true. Yeah.
Create a living out of it.
I feel like when we started, slowly the sort of the involvement of Spotify and playlisting and streaming was becoming a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think everyone was mad about Spotify, and it was like, I have to, really go for it on this one. And I feel like maybe that platform's gonna change, and I think a lot of people are kind of yearning for something else. And I feel obviously we've got TikTok and Instagram. I feel like it's just platforms. I think fundamentally the artist hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And their requirements and needs haven't changed.
And the need to tell stories hasn't changed.
No.
And the need to build context and build your own universe hasn't changed. It's just literally the platforms.
Yeah.
So obviously we've seen the rise of TikTok and short form as being a major change. I think when 10 years ago, long form was probably a lot more important than it is now. And short form has taken over. But I think it moves in cycles. Long form's going to come back, and it is doing.
I feel like actually artists can be a bit more real.
Yeah.
I think maybe 10 years ago when we started, I launched a Mothers and Music community group because when I actually felt pregnant, I felt like I couldn't tell anyone. So we were like, running Liberty, and I felt pregnant. I felt like I couldn't tell my female clients more than anything that I was pregnant, because they'd be like, oh, does that mean you're going to drop the ball on my campaign, or does that mean you're not going to be around? And I feel like now with the likes of Rihanna, Beyonce, and everyone that we see who's very iconically pregnant now and very loud and proud about being a mum, that was not like that. Like we worked with an artist whose name just escaped me. What was her name? She was a blonde girl from Nottingham, 80s-esque. Can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she got dropped by her label for having. She had a daughter called Etta as well.
Yeah.
She got dropped by her label for being pregnant, and that was only 8 years ago. That was what labels were like back then. It's like 8 years ago.
Yeah, I think the nature of labels has changed as well, because the labels have adjusted to this movement in independence. This is definitely a point I want to make as well about the change.
Yeah.
When we started out, it was signed or unsigned. And if you were unsigned,
it was like a day
you were kind of done for. That was it. You were like a nobody artist. And so, but that's now changed, and now unsigned is independent. It's much more empowering to see yourself as independent, and that's really like artists are thinking like that now and becoming entrepreneurs. So we've tried to evolve with the movement and to lead the movement with them. Yeah,
and I think nowadays as a musician, you can be whoever you want to be. Fat, thin, tall, short, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, I think you had to have a certain kind of look.
Like a facade.
Yeah, but I think we're really celebrating people's differences now, and we're really leaning into like, oh, he's got depression, he's got ADHD, she's got this, we're loving all that, and I think that wasn't a thing, 10 years ago.
That's a good question.
It
definitely cost me my mental health in the first few years, but I adjusted to it because I hadn't run a business of that nature before. Like I was an artist. I used to be before that. I used to be an engineer, and I wasn't managing teams or anything. So there was a big learning curve for me, and for both of us to a certain extent.
Yeah, I'd always worked on my own in businesses and never had to manage anyone. And I would have welcomed the chance, I didn't have the chance.
But there was definitely growth from that, because through that, the sleepless nights and the stressing about things, and then you find in the end that you can overcome these problems. They're not like existential, and that's kind of grew from that.
Yeah.
From those.
Yeah,
those
I think
moments.
I'd say for me, kind of leaning back into that mum thing, is obviously I had a baby as our business turned 1, and so it was very difficult and it was only me running the campaigns. So I had my daughter, but she went into childcare quite young, and now that I've got a second, and I kind of put her in when she was 1, and whereas my first was at 3 months old, I kind of think, oh my God, did she really go in? But she was with my best friend, so it was fine. But yeah, so I feel like maybe I had to sacrifice those early years with my firstborn, who's very cool and very independent and amazing. I wouldn't change that now. But yeah, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't get to do that with her in that first year and stuff, because I was so needed in the business, basically. Yeah. I would say,
Don't give up.
don't give up. Like, create a plan. We did, as much as it was all like serendipity and it all unfolded. We kind of had a clear plan. We knew what we wanted we wanted to be the best. We created a mission statement.
Yeah.
Even when it was just me and you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Empowering
definitely.
independence and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think have a clear mission. What are you about? How are you unique? So when we started Liberty, loads of people were like, well, there's thousands of music PR agencies out there. How are you any different? Have that USP. So for us, it was all about making sure, so the bad experience that we'd encountered, which is why we felt we needed to launch the business, was that we felt like we weren't cared for as a client. We felt that we weren't taken care of, that they didn't really put the work in. It's really hard, for example, for a publicist to land PR pieces for an unsigned artist, an independent artist that's relatively unknown. So for us, it was like, okay, so we need to put in the hard work. We need to be really personable. We need to be really caring. So we almost like created like a kind of blueprint
Like a
of
manifesto,
of how we were going to be different. And when people had experienced the service with us, they were like, oh my God, you're a breath of fresh air.
The importance of communication, it's like letting people know what you're doing, even if you're not getting results.
Yes.
That was the big thing. A lot of PRs and agencies and labels go quiet when they don't get results because they're afraid to say, or they're afraid to tell you, or whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whereas we'd be like, look, we're working on it. This is what who the people we're reaching out to right now. And it puts people at ease.
Yeah.
And that's been really important for us. And also loving the music. Like, we wouldn't just do it disingenuously. We want to believe in the artist.
So have some really clear USPs.
Yeah.
Have a mission, and do not be afraid to get down and dirty and stuck in and work those hours.
Yeah, because there's no easy way.
That will literally put you ahead of the competition.
I think a lot of people think the grass is greener because they get into a tough spot and they go, oh, I think I'll try that over there because that looks easier, but it's.
But in any industry,
if you're really passionate, I think that's the thing. You've got to have the passion.
Yeah.
To
kind of be available, I suppose, as well. In any industry, if someone I don't know, I have a carpenter that I love calling because he's always like, "Yep, cool, I'll be around tomorrow," and he gets all our work at home. And so being available, I think, is good as well.
Yeah.
Thank
And not being
you.
afraid to be vulnerable and to actually
Yes.
and talk about it.
Yeah, so we didn't do. Yeah, we definitely never showed the vulnerability at the start, did we?
That was
a bit
important.
like, no.
Vulnerability.
It's a
Okay.
thing now that you can
Yes.
actually show and it just
See,
resonates.
that's it. You couldn't do that before.
It's so important, the vulnerability piece.
Yeah.
Because we try and encourage it on the meetings, huddles, or whatever, for people to just open up because there's a lot of insecurity a lot of time. You've just started a role. You don't want to show people that you might not know what you're doing and you're struggling. Just you've got to be able to open up and to ask questions and not be afraid to look a fool. And that vulnerability is where you get the growth from. So yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that was nice.